Hi guys, today we're taking a look at PT55 Game 1. It's a pure grouping game. At first you're told that there's 3 teams, 1, 2, and 3, so you think there might be an ordering component to it, but the order of these teams turns out to not be important. It's just how do we compose these teams. And each one has 2 people on it, and they are giving either an opening argument or a final argument. So it's really a grid system that we go with here. And, I make sure these are lowercase so I don't confuse them with variables. And we're going to put all the opening arguments up here and all the final arguments over here. Because I hate ugly lines, let's make sure that that's a better looking line. Okay, so we've got our 6 law students, so it's best to get an inventory of them. We got Gambini, Little, Mitchum, Richardson, Saito, and then finally Veracruz. And then do your little inventory. We got 6 total. And it's going to be a nice even distribution. We've got 2 spots on each team, and we have to fill them. So it's a 1-to-1 kind of game. Nothing is going to be left out. We don't have to use anybody twice. That generally makes things pretty easier. This being a game 1, as usual, it's not the hardest game ever. Okay, so our rules, Mitchum is on the same team as either Gambini or Veracruz. So we got M is either with G or M is with V. So you're going to see one of these 2 orders, right? And I like to box them off. Now, next we know Little goes in the opening argument part of the grid. He's up in this upper row here. So I just like to put an arrow, for we know Little's going in there. And if you want, you can cross it off so you know he's not on the bottom row. Now this last one is a little bit tricky. We've got G, R, or G and R can't be in the same row. So if G gives an opening argument, say, that means R would be down here. And basically we can never see G and R together on the same row. So I just put that like this. Maybe RG, that's not okay. And then I would say, RG like this, with something implying that, they don't have to be in the same group, but this is okay. So I might just do that. It's, I'm improvising here with how I diagram this, but the more important thing is that I'm getting it in my memory, right? RG on the same row, not okay. RG on different rows, okay. I'm not going to have too much trouble memorizing that. And these are the only rules we have to work with, just these 3 rules. So now we're really ready to just go to the questions. I'm going to skip the acceptability question, just do it like you usually do, and check where each of the rules is violated one at a time. You'll be left with 1 answer standing. Let's go on to 2. Okay, for question 2, we're told that M and G are on the same team, and that it's Gambini who's doing the final argument. So he's down on row 2, right? Looking at our main diagram. So what inferences can we make from that? Well, when G is on the bottom, remember that these 2 can't be on the same row, so we have to slap R up top. And then we know L is always up top, so that's our last remaining person. So with that, what I always say is after you've made some inferences quickly, don't look to see if you can finish this out. Let's just go on and see if we can answer the question. So this first one, A, asks us if it's okay if L and V are together on a team and V gives the opening argument. No, that can't be true because L is always the opener, right? B asks if it's okay if R and S are together, and then is it okay if it's S that prepares the opening argument? No, that's not going to work, right? Now C says R and S together, but this time Saito prepares the final argument for the team. Yeah, that's totally possible, so that could be true. Okay, on to question 3. 3 just asks us about things that generally could be true about the game, so it's best to just go through them one by one here and check it out. G is on the same team as R, okay, and it's G preparing the final argument. G, R, with G on the final, doing the final argument, that looks to me like it should be okay. I don't see any reason why not. Now we need M and V to go together, right? And then L's got to be up top, remember. And then who's our last person? Saito. I don't see that we're violating any rules here. L's up top where it needs to be. R and G are on different rows. We've got this MV order that we need. Perfect. So look how we saved lots of time by not, freaking out that this was a trial and error question, but just getting down to business and starting to try the answer choices. And bam, A was our correct answer. Just keep a cool head and start making diagrams of the options. Okay, on to 4. For 4, we get Richardson on the same team as Veracruz, right? And then it doesn't tell us who's doing the opening argument or the closing argument, right? So all we've got here is this RB-RV group. And then we know L always prepares an opening argument, so we can put that up top. And then, do we know anything else? Can we make any other inferences from this game? Well, M and G have to be together, right? So we've got like M and G. We don't know which row they go on. And then L has to be with the remaining person, Saito. So the only thing we know for sure is that these two, their argument is fixed. Which argument they're doing is fixed. L's giving the opening argument, as always. Saito has to be with L, right? And he's giving the closing argument. So the question's asking us, how many can we determine which argument they're doing, opening or final? And we can only do it for these two, L and S. That's 2, that corresponds to answer choice B is the correct answer. Okay, 5, if Little's on the same team as Richardson, so we know how that would be ordered, LR, right? Because L always does the opening argument. So that means that R does the final argument. Remember now we look immediately at what rules come into play. That rule is going to come into effect, R and G on different rows, so we got to put G up top. And then what else do we know? Well, not much, right? So I'm going to see if that inference that G has to be up top answers the question. And if you do a quick scan, you'll see there it is. E, Gambini has to prepare an opening argument. Perfect. So I didn't stress out about the fact that I could only make one inference. I just looked right away to see if I had already answered the question by making that one inference, and sure enough, I had. I think questions like this can be a real trap for people who aren't experienced, because they make maybe that one simple inference and they're freaking out thinking they have to do more. But like I always say, after you've made an inference, before making any subsequent difficult inferences, check if it's answered the question. And here, a quick scan of the answer choices revealed that yes, we'd already answered it. Okay, question 6. If Saito prepares an opening argument, so we got Saito up here, then which of the following pairs of students could be on the same team as each other? So we know L's up top, right? And then what other rules come into play here? Well, this R and G team, remember they can never be on the same row, so we've got to split them up. That means that R and G, one of these two has to be up here. And then M has to be with V or G, remember? So the problem there is there's no way to get M and G or M and V together on these first two teams here. So the only place we could ever do it is here. right, over in this third team. So you can actually get rid of the R there, and you have to put G here and M here. And now, for the remainder of the diagram, you know, this is either R or V, and this is either R or B. We just don't know. So with this, it should be very easy to solve the rest of the game. Who could be on a team together? Sorry, my alarm just went off there. So who could be on a team together is what we're looking at here. We got G and L for A. No, they can't be together, so cross that off. B, G and S. Nope. This is pretty easy to solve at this point. C, L and R. Sorry, L and V. L and V, yeah, sure, they could be together right here. So that gives us C as the correct answer. Okay, so we're done with that game. A little bit of post-mortem on it. You didn't have many rules, right? Typically on games where you don't have many rules, they're going to leave the setup pretty open for you. And you're going to have to quickly fill in a lot of mini diagrams, which is what we did. We just kept redoing this little grid, starting with what we know and making our inferences quickly. And it was generally pretty easy once you were given one piece of information to then fill in the rest. And then also let's take a little bit of a note of how we solved question 3 quickly. You know, we didn't freak out. We saw that it was going to be a trial and error question, and we just got back down to business checking the answer choices one at a time. And luckily it was A that was the correct answer, so it was a quick solve. Okay, so make sure you understand the point of this grid system and working with this. You know, it's not the same as maybe a tiered ordering game like you'd be used to, or an advanced linear game. All it is a simple grid where we've got our groups down below, 1, 2, and 3, and then opening could only go on this top row, and final arguments could only go on this bottom row. So it's pretty easy to fill in once we keep that grid nice and static in our mind. Okay, thanks guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.